And good morning. And we're live. It's 11:17 here on the Eastern Seaboard. And I'm in the Oak Room. I only had $22 to my name, so I decided to splurge and have a beautiful, crisp Belgian waffle with fresh fruit and a research and freshly made whipped cream and freshly brewed coffee. It can't, and it has good Wi-Fi here. So that's why I came. I had other things to do. Plus, it has good phone signal, so I had a bunch of phone calls to make. I haven't really left the deep green in about a week because I do go to the general store, which is about 10 miles from me, because they have pretty good Wi-Fi. Just to say, hey, I'm here, and I'm um, enjoying the solitude, right? And so I was telling a friend of mine, so I had no internet, no way to get out. But since I'm very protected electronically, I get three FM stations. I get the public radio station from the big college, UTSU, which is pretty good, and they also have two other stations I get. Um, One is a real thunder, Bible pumping guy, and he does it 24/7 himself. It's like unbelievable. And and I sit there with my Bible and I read what he's quoting, and it's never what the Bible says. It's quite interesting. And then there's another channel that's like the Christian version of CNN. And then late at night, after 9 o'clock, once the sun goes down, um, I start to get the AM off the skip, and I get everything from Toronto to Mexico City, from Alaska over to Ireland. I don't get them, straight. They come in, and that's on the skip. And um, well, that hat. Skype. Now, like I said, I have to go visit my, um, you know, my phone guru in a couple of, a week or so. But Boone, that's where my phone guru is. And Boone has had a disruption of their water, and that for they don't know how long. Septic, you know turds have been going into the drinking water of the city of Boone, and they only started to notice when they started seeing in the hospital all these people showing up with turd oriented diseases, and then they checked the water. Now they should have been checking the water up before this, and the all the little buggies were so off the hook as they were amazed that no one died. So they had to immediately say, okay, ooh, and they made, oh, we had a water line break, and it's no, it's been in there. So and so that was 3 weeks ago when that happened, and they still can't even use the water, not even if you boil it, because they know people aren't going to boil it for the 5 minutes. They'll just wait till it comes to a boil, and then they'll use it, and then they'll die. And so, in about August 16th, I think, is when 30,000 college students are going to show up at App State, and they won't have the drinking water ready by then. So that should be. So I haven't really gone to Boone since the last time I was there, giving you that little message of the dire. I was in the IHOP, and they couldn't give you a cup. They couldn't give you anything. They served the food in styrofoam, everything plastic. Throw everything away. And people, we are just going to start realizing um, about garbage, because China isn't taking our garbage anymore, right? Hey, sweetie, good to see you. Uh, so I've been listening to The World on the skip, about gun violence and violence in general, and tribalism, and I mean, the United States is not the worst gun. I'm sure as many guns as we have, about 40,000 people die a year from gunshots, right? Close to 1,200 people a day die from medical malpractice. Yeah, if you look it up on CDC, they call it different things, but it's generally what it is. Give them the wrong drug. I mean, the opiate addiction itself is medical malpractice. So, you know, 3 people a day die of a gun. So, and the majority of that 40,000 people, about 35,000 of them are suicides. People who, and about 19,000 of those 35,000 are young heroes that went to protect us in Afghanistan and Iraq and the other 200 wars that are going on around the world that we are part of. And, they can't handle once they come back because they have been so changed. So that's kind of where we're at. And again, I started out Dreamy Dreamland with the concept of divining an alternative aesthetic to, violent materialism. And it's becoming pretty obvious to the rest of the world that has to happen too. See, that's a little pebble in the pond. Um, yes, I'm not being, put on billboards or sent out around the world, but the energetics of trying to assist all our relations into coming into a realization of love's co-creation. It's the only way. And I guess I was, why I had to go into solitude. It's because, I at least 10 times a day go into deep meditation and prayer for world peace. And being disrupted by the distractions of Roanoke and where I was staying, didn't allow me to do that. Now I can. Now, yeah, I'm not eating much, but I'm eating, I was telling my sis, uh, this is my diet. Um, I'm very blessed that my little part of the forest used to be a farm, and so it's covered in berries. Earlier in the summer, I had blueberries. Now I'm having raspberries, every different type. And in September, I'll have wine berries. So every morning, I go out and pick berries, put them in a pot, and basically boil that up. Then I add oatmeal and maybe some onions and a little seasoning. That's pretty much what I eat. Oatmeal, onions, and berries. Right? And I make teas with the bark. Like the old Crohn's teas. They're all out there in my forest. So I take part in those 3 teas. So that's I can't complain. So and there's no use in complaining. And every now and then I come to a place like this and have a nice genteel breakfast. Mm. So I call you all to go back. I have more than 640 shows on this channel of Dreamy Dreamland with Sensei Bob. And I would say I probably have more than 150, if not 200, of guided meditations. And all of those guided meditations are still as dynamic and shamanic, because I put it down with shamanic juice, as I do every one of these shows, right? And see that light above my head? That is the golden thread going to my superconscious mind, you know? We all have this. It's how bright it is, you know? How bright is that light? And again, we have this 17-month window of opportunity. And all of these different correlations are coming together, have come together right now. And they're in parallax with each other for the next 17 months. And we will either step up or be thrown down. Not much will change except the opportunity. Now, we've had to wait close to 16,000 years for this moment in time. And all of us who can take the time to meditate, you know, at least once a day. I do it 10 times a day, 20 times a day, you know, maybe even more, you know, but seriously, deep meditation 10 times a day. And, you know, in a way I do it selfishly because I know that's why I came back from dying in that plate of spaghetti, was, you know, to follow this path till I go to the other side, you know, and I have to in every day and every way take the piece of the earth and make it stronger. I have to enjoy my presence and be conscious and awake of my presence from nanosecond to nanosecond. And that's what will open the doorway for me to ascend. So that's what I'm doing. Right? And I'm not bemoaning, how am I going to pay my bills? Oh, nobody loves me. No. Mm-mm. That's not my job. I take and enjoy every moment. And a lot of people would be bummed out by the, you know, the non-existence of, but I always have just what I need. Like, I wanted to come to breakfast. I looked in my car. Down there, I found $22. And my bill here was $22.48. And I dug around in my kangaroo pockets and found 50 cents and a $5 bill, which I gave to the girl as a, you know, a tip. And she was like, wow. Because, you know, all the rich people come in here, they give me nothing. Because you must be one of those eccentric millionaires. I said, yeah, I'm one of those. I got really good coffee. So I would suggest, you know, Toni Morrison died the other day, and she was the only black female to ever win the Nobel Prize in literature. And she won many Pulitzer Prizes and many other things. But her first book was Blue Eyes, about a little girl who wanted to know why she couldn't have blue eyes. Because having blue eyes meant you were going to be successful and popular. And Beloved is another one of her really great books. So anyway, I would suggest you go read Toni Morrison because it really, really defines a human being. She said the most important thing about being born is that we're going to die. That's what you do in between. And what's the most important thing to do is to, in every day and every way, feel love in your heart. You know, when I read that, that's kind of what got me on the path of in every day and every way, take the piece of the earth and make it stronger through love's co-creation. So let's have a little, so it's, you know, it's hard for me to do the evening guided meditations because I have to get back to the deep green before it gets dark. And last night I noticed that it's getting darker earlier, meaning up until last week or a week ago, starting to get dark around 8:45 and would be dark by 10. Now it's starting to get dark around 8:30 and totally dark by 9:15, 9:20. So, but the nights have been beautiful, right? They're cool. The days are nice too. They don't really get above 85 unless you're right out. There's a part of my deep green that I cleared that gets a lot of sunlight that from 11 a.m. until about 3 p.m. You don't want to be there. It's like being in a microwave oven. That's why I put up a lot of tarps, just so I'd have shady spots to sit under. So anyway, um, so let's just be quiet and meditate, the three of us. So this is my egg timer for meditation. Right? One breath, two breaths, three breaths. When my finger starts to go that way, that's when I know I'm in state. It's like when I come to once got a stop for rolling through a stop sign. And the guy didn't give me a ticket, but he said, listen, all you got to do is count 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. Then you go. The traffic is free. So you'll never get a ticket. Unless you do that, I'll never stop you again. So from that point on, never did. Nice cop. And there are a lot of nice cops. You know, within every cohort of society, pretty much, about 80% of the people are pretty good, you know. 20% of the times they're morons, but 80% of the time they're pretty good. And then about 35% are pretty good most of half the time. There's maybe 10% that are kind of obnoxious, and then there's about 3% that it's like, you know, do really terrible things, like start wars and, throw people out of their houses, say really mean things to the general public from the point of power. And Donnie is no worse than any other. All our legislators are the best money can buy. You know, Moscow Mitch. You know, he said he was the sort of things that he called himself the Grim Reaper of any liberal agenda. You shouldn't just negate things just because they come from a, you should listen to what it is before you chop its head off. So there's only 3 or 4% of the human race that are like those guys, and those guys really need our love, right? They need our prayers, because I've known a lot of people who are that mean and rotten, and through my example and other people's example of a positive, prayerful life, they changed. They became better, right? So, and that's why we're still here. Yeah, if everybody was really terrible, we'd be toast. We'd all be shooting each other. It's amazing, like I said, that in America, for as many guns as we have, I mean, that's really, it's not so much a gun violence per se, that we got so many guns. And, people who think, well, the Second Amendment, we have to protect ourselves from our government. No. When our government doesn't want us here, they're not going to get rid of us by shooting us. No. be getting rid of us by, having everyone eat Fruit Loops and advertise it so much everyone will think that it's their own idea. That's how we're going to be gotten rid of by the powers that shouldn't be. Anyway, no, humanity isn't as bad as the media portrays it. Yeah, yeah, it's at its core, humanity is good. Yeah, like I said, you don't need a gun to protect yourself. All you need is a prayer, and unconditional love. As a social worker, I walked into many a room where everyone was just about to shoot each other, and I started, just walked in um, the same Lord's Prayer. So I'll lead you with this one story as your griot. So I got, hoodwinked into being a rainbow facilitator. I rainbowed facilitated a lot of gatherings and major three in New England. And I did it because, I got hoodwinked. I stepped in and I looked around and, thought everybody was next to me. It was just me. I said, okay, I'll do it. Then I made it fun. Then everybody wanted to be part of it. And that's why the three that I helped facilitate were, you know, uh, really great. And it was very much the Huck Finn modality. I found a site. I moved out there. Other people came out. Wow, this is great. And more showed up. They did all the work fixing it up. And I gave them all the responsibility that they wanted. And said, go ahead, go to it. Do what you want. And that's kind of what a rainbow gathering is. And anyway, the last time I did that, really did it, was in Vermont in 92 or 3. And the NERF, New England Rainbow Family, wanted to do it in this place. That was not a good place to. It was beautiful, but it had all of this flora and fauna that if you stepped on it, you got $1,000 fine because this whole forest was very this little plant was the only place in the world that grew, and to have 20,000 stoned hippies out there. There was no drinking water. There was no transportation. No major road coming in. No parking, everything that you don't want. And there were plenty of sites nearby in New Hampshire and other places that were great. Mount Musalaki was great. It just clear-cutted gigantic meadows, had running river and springs. And, because they logged it, they had a gigantic logging road. There was no traffic on that you could have parked, thousands of cars on. And it was a great bus field. It was a great spot. And then there's a whole forest that didn't get logged, right? And Dartmouth was just on the other side of the mountain, and they were going to give us 20 grand to do it there. But Mersh said no. So anyway, I was a guy who had to mollify the powers that shouldn't be. The police, all the rich people, everybody, right? So I did my thing. And they said, okay. The richest lady there, I showed her that she had 2 general stores and 1 big gas station. I said, you're the only person anybody can buy anything from. You'll make $1 million. And I showed her all the printouts from all the other gatherings that helped do this. And I, being the anthropologist, the demographer, I collected all that data just to show, hey, this is what, if you let this gathering come here, this is what you're going to make. So she goes, I wish my son would. Can I adopt you? So I would go there and she'd make me blueberry pancakes with fresh, warm maple syrup from her tree. She was one of the largest maple syrup. She was making $1 million off of maple syrup. This is in '93. And she had a dairy farm. So she had sweet cream, blueberry pancakes, fresh eggs, bacon, sausage. Anyway, so she was, so I was the go-between, and the state highway patrol. All the police guys were scared of this woman. She loved me, so I said, these are like my brothers. So you got to love them too. So I made the politics of that county more, get along. So the guy who was the state highway patrol, he loved me. The guy who was the county sheriff, he loved me. The county commissioner loved me. He wanted me to marry his daughter, because I was there months before the gathering was to smooth everything out. Anyway, so it got, once, the setup team and the rainbow started to show up, I just stayed with the powers of be, just to keep them cool, and with the intermediary, right? So a bunch of, and the thing I like is everything before the gathering and everything after the gathering. The gathering, not so much. So I had a really nice, calm is my thing, Center for Alternative Living Medicine. So I have my healing temple next to calm. And I have my own little private chalet that no one knows where I'm at. And it's a quiet spot, so I don't have to hear the din of 20,000 people. Anyway, so like I said, there were a lot of problems, but we were, getting through them. And all the Vermont folk came and helped, right? All the guys with the tapping and the hoses and all of that, they showed us how to wet nurse a hill. Right? So you find a big rock. So they don't have a lot of running water for us, but they had a lot of wet stones. Put a rubber mat over the wet stone. You have it empty into one of their stainless steel sleds, and then you hose it to wherever you want it. Anyway, so we did that. We did a lot of other things. Anyway, pretty much. And then once that started, this girl from Bard came, and she goes, "You're going to be my boyfriend." And she was about 20, and I was probably 42. And she was great. She was really brilliant, really smart, really, had a funny sense of humor like I do. Loved to just have a good old time, and just loved the freedom, because she had been in a very controlled environment, expected to be this, that, and the other thing. She loved this environment, and this was her first experience of it. And that she, was hanging out with a Mac Daddy, the dude of the gathering. It was like great, and the fact that I'd wear her underpants and she'd wear mine, and she could wear my underpants like shorts, and I would wear hers like hers. Anyway, so we just had the greatest time, and the thing that she was really really jazzed about was that instead of thinking about just solely about herself, she was thinking about everybody else, about how to. She was watching me organize all this stuff without doing anything, like a wave of my hand. She was like, "Whoa," and she saw that all I thought about was everybody else, not myself. And by doing that, I never had a problem getting anything to eat or drink or, any of both. And I'd already set my everything up before anybody even showed up. So, and so virtually every morning, before, she showed up 2 weeks before the gathering. And like the first day, she, found me and we hooked up, right? And then for 2 weeks we were together. And so every day we go, who's ever going down from the main gate, whether it's a policeman or a rainbow, down to where the general store was, we'd hitch a ride. And I knew all the cops pretty much. And so at least the cops who were there. And I was making sure everything went, that there were no ruffles. Because once a ruffle starts, that's where you get bad vibes. And, the cops, they feel bad about you. They got guns. They got the law on their side. They got to arrest everybody for nothing. Like I said, there were all these plants. If you stepped on them, you got $1,000 fine. So anyway, we were doing this, and she loved going down there and just flirting with all these, powerful men, and they loved the fact that she was flirting with them. And mom, she picked up on her as this girl was, her daughter, and she said, "You should marry this girl. She's smart. She's going to take care of you." Blah 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 blah. And I knew once that girl got back, to her $1 zillion family, and because they came from the snob hill of Boston and all of the above. But she was a great girl, great woman, great writer. She's become, a tour de force in her own right. I mean, she's published, and people know her, and you hear her on public radio. And I go, well, I used to hang with that girl. But anyway, this was her first experience of being outside herself, of thinking about others more than herself. And it really put her, and it made her question a lot of her beliefs that, and we would talk about belief. I said, I don't believe in anything, I just have faith in love's co-creation, right? So anyway, so we went deeper and deeper into love, and what was great about it wasn't lust, it was love. It was sweetness, it was kindness, it was experiencing things together and sharing and caring. And it was so great because I cared more about her than myself, and she cared more about me than her. And it was like bliss, right? So anyway, the gathering, the setup goes on. Things are being as good as they can be. It's still a terrible sight. It was terrible. And then what I call the drainbows, the people who, we hate the cops. No, the cops, you don't hate the cops. We hate, Babylon. No, you live in Babylon. If you hate Babylon, Babylon's in your heart. So anyway, more and more of that ilk showed up, and I knew a whole bunch of everybody because I've been, hanging with these guys for years, and a good portion of the people who started have known since we were teenagers. So anyway, that's a whole nother story. So we the gathering starts, and there's friction. The drainbows are making themselves known, and so I go down to the general stores and down where the cops were, and every day, go down in the morning, get the report for them, go back to council, say, hey, you morons, stop this, hang out with the alcohol guys, all the people who normally are the usual suspects. I try to kind of tamp it down a bit. So I go down there, and it's hit a kind of but more and more cops are showing up because the Rainbow has given the state the reason for more and more cops to show up. So more and more cops from out of the county show up. More state troopers show up. More State Bureau of Investigations show up. More people like that who are more hard edge, more sixes from the Forest Service who aren't even left from Colorado, but all they know is they hate the rainbows. Anyway, and I'm going down there negotiating, getting everyone to be cool. Well, let me give you a massage. I left my massage table down in Mom's general store. Over, put down a nice little carpet, cleaned out a little corner. Any policeman or authoritarian person needed a massage, I put them on my table. And man, they were coming, right? So, and I'd go down there with my sweetie, and we'd make a great do it. And she was learning about diplomacy and how to deal with anyway. So we're having a great time, but it's still a hassle. And it's instead of it being like the other 3 gatherings that I helped put together, that were just bliss because they were in the perfect spot with the perfect people. This wasn't that. I tried to make it as good as could before the 20,000 Rainbow showed up, And so anyway, I spend most of my time going up and down that hill dealing with authorities. So one morning, we're at breakfast, having blueberry pancakes and fresh, warm maple syrup and sausage and eggs. And the SBI guy and the state trooper general were saying, our intelligence says that there's a group from California coming that want to murder as many rainbows as they can. So that's fun. You got anything other than that? And he said, oh, yes, they're going to be in a tan Winnebago. I said, do you know their license plates? No, but we know their California license plates. So keep on that thing. And, we gave you a radio. If you see these guys, give us the 411. I said, okay. So anyway, I never used the radio they gave me. I just put it in my tent just in case of a medical emergency. So I, because if I knew, if the rest of the camp knew that I had, they wouldn't like that. Anyway, so one morning we wait by the main gate and we're waiting for somebody to go down to the store, and Mom's getting happier and happier because what I told her was true. She's making a shitload of money. I mean, she's got 2 stores, one big gas station. She owns all food. Nobody's buying anything other than from her, and she is sending up fresh vegetables for free. Right? She knows all the farmers. She's buying the stuff that's just about to be thrown out, and or getting it to be brought up to our kitchens. So that was a good thing. So anyway, I'm waiting, and this Winnebago comes by, and I'm really tired. And I'm not even pretending, I'm just wearing my girlfriend's Minnie Mouse underpants, and, even though I'm still a slim guy, anyway, and I was that, and I had a Death Leopard t-shirt on, and a big, Uncle Sam top hat. Because it was getting too close to the 4th of July. And Vermin Supreme gave me that hat so we could have, at Main Circle, pass the hat. That was my pass the hat. Anyway, and the All-American hat I was wearing around 4th of July, it was but one that I had was a top hat. So anyway, that's what I was wearing. My girlfriend's Minnie Mouse underpants, pair of flip-flops. So my legs, up to my crotch were totally exposed, and no pants and nothing. And I was eating Vermont food, so I wasn't being eaten up by mosquitoes or the bugs. My body had acclimated to the forest. So I didn't need to cover up. And you can't cover up for mosquitoes. Anyway, you just have to change your blood type, right? So the mosquitoes go, ooh, it doesn't smell like. So I was basically we got on the tan Winnebago, and we're both asleep. She's like lying. She did this thing where she used to crawl up in my lap and just kind of sit herself on my junk and snuggle up to me like a cat. And she would fall asleep with her head wrapped, just like right there. And I'd put my head like that, and we'd fall asleep. It was very nice, very sweet. And she would, nuzzle my ear, and it was very nice. And so we're going along, and this guy kind of gets, there's a cop, and I go, what's that, huh? And I look out the back, and there is a cop. But it's like hundreds of cop cars. It's a rainbow gathering, and they're going up and down the road. And anyway, and there's only this one little windy road down to this flat place where the gas station and the 2 general stores were. and a few homes and a little farm over here. Anyway, so I go, oh, don't worry about it. So I go back, and then he goes, oh, no, it's 5. And I look back, and there are 5, and their lights are flashing now. There's no place to pull over. Um, so I said, don't worry about it. So I go back, and so we get down to where the road is no longer like this, but it's kind of coming down to the valley, and there is a bulldozer right across the road, and there's like at least 40 or 50 police cars with their lights flashing, and guys behind, they line them up in such a way where they're blocking not only the road, but you couldn't go around them if you tried. And everyone's got like an M16 and a shotgun, and like they're hiding behind the their vehicles, right? And I look up the front where the driver is, and he's got this long blonde hair, and it's really skinny. And I see the logo. It says Winnebago. And I go, hey, buddy, what color is this Winnebago? He goes, it's tan. And I go, where are you from? California. Where are your plates from? California. And it's like, yeah. And so I'm thinking, okay, these cops think that, we're the band that's going to kill everyone. So I, I say, slow down. Go really slow into this roadblock. Don't come up to it fast. Slow way down. Really just the last quarter mile, just roll. Don't do more than 3 miles an hour. Okay. And I tell everyone to, sit near a window with their hands like this. And this guy goes, oh, and the guy who's really upset, he's like freaking out. And I go, what's your problem, buddy? And he goes, I got 100 sheets of acid. And, it's got like, 500,000 hits of acid in his knapsack. That's enough to go to jail, in 1992 or 3, for a long time. So I go, just be cool. I'll get us out of this. Don't worry about it. So, and then there was a real nasty, drunk road dog drain bug that I've known for years. Oh, let's go get the cops. I said, you nuts? Look at that. So we come to a stop. And everyone in the Winnebago, keep your hands up. Don't make any sudden moves. Or it's like, at least 60 machine guns pointed at us. And so I go, okay, everyone, what I want you to do is kind of sink down, but keep your hands up so they can see your hands. But they can't shoot your head. And I'll take care of this. So I take off my Def Leppard t-shirt, and I go out there with flip-flops, my girlfriend's Minnie Mouse underpants, and my, Uncle Sam American top hat. I walk out there, take about 4 steps away from from the van, and I take my top hat off and put it on the ground, and I put my, get down on my knees, and I put my fingers like this behind my head, and I start saying the Lord's Prayer. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be. I mean, with my outside projecting, Moses kind of voice, Charleston Heston, theatrical voice. And everyone was like, with their machine guns, and their guns are starting to drop because I'm like there in Minnie Mouse underpants, flip-flops, and no shirt, and no hat, and my hands like this behind my things, and my knees, because this is like, what they call crush run, dirt, pebbles, and my knees start to bleed. I look like Jesus, right? Except instead of my head bleeding, my knees are, and everyone's like, right, and all of a sudden, ow, everyone, put your guns down. There's an order, put your guns down. And there was, the guy I knew, the chief of police, the general of the, state troopers and the SBI and all those guys. And they come over and they pick me up and they go, do you need an ambulance? I said, no. Go get me a bottle of water. And I kind of wash off my knees and kind of clean them up a little bit. And I said, you got a, medical kit in one of those cars? And they bring it over and I take care of my knees. And I go, come on, boys. So I take the, chief of police, the county police, the state trooper, and the SBI guy. So you tell your boys to put their guns away, not down, away. So they do, and the guys do, and everyone kind of stands down. And those got the three most important, most in charge guys go over. I said, "This is Winnebago. These aren't the guys. This guy is from California. He's got all." And I had him see. He's got a valid license, valid registration. It's all good. You can go run him. It's sweetie. And this guy, the pig. And I said, they go, what should we do with him? I said, whatever you want to. So they go pick him up, and they clink him and throw him into a police car. And this guy's got more warrants on him than a tree. If he had just shut up and been nice, not a problem. And there was the kid with the knapsack full of sheets, and he was starting to melt on the floor. He had eaten all of the sheets. And they go, wow, what's wrong with that kid? I said, well, he's probably eaten about 500,000 hits of LSD. Whoa. I said, yeah, you should go get an ambulance for that guy and hose him down with Thorazine. I don't know if he's ever coming back. So they do. They take him away in a wagon, and they take the other guy away in the thing. And the guy in the Winnebago was allowed to go on his way. He was leaving the site because he had enough of, he said, boy, this is really terrible gathering. So he was gone until the police were like, oh, Al, we're so sorry. We're so sorry. What can we do? And they look at us and they go, we're going back to the Capitol. Do you want to come back with us? We have a whole floor in the Holiday Inn. We can put you up in a jacuzzi suite. And Sweetie goes, jacuzzi suite? Really? And they go, and it has room service. It has the best roast beef. She goes, roast beef meat? I haven't eaten meat in 3 weeks. I said, what are you talking about? We've been eating sausage every morning. Anyway, so we get in their car and they drive us to the Holiday Inn, and they check us into a suite, and then I'm only wearing my girlfriend's underpants and flip flops and a Def Leppard T-shirt, and they go, Al, you need some clothes. So they take us to LL Bean's and buy us like 5 different sets of clothes. Really, really nice camping clothes, like maybe $200 between her and me, shoes and boots and hats and you name it, whatever we wanted. And then I got a swimming trunks because the thing had a pool, and we spent 3 days in the Holiday Inn, and we were just, luxury, having roast beef and, baked potatoes and double baked potatoes and pies and cakes. And she was, then that gave her the energy to get frisky. And so they had a band and we were dancing, and just everyone loved us because we were just such the interesting couple. We had a great time, So we totally missed the 4th of July, which was great. And the 5th and the 6th. And we came back, I think the 6th, 3 days later. And the camp was like boom, 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 boom. The war drums, they all had the war paint. And the rumor was that Sweetie and I had gotten arrested, for, making peace with the police. It was a terrible sign. No, none of that happened. Anyway, the police said, we'll give you a ride up. So they brought us up, and everyone's like, really upset. And I said, give me the microphone. And I said, listen, you morons, we just spent the last 3 nights at the Holiday Inn, eating roast beef, had a great time. Look at these clothes they bought us. We were in this, and she goes, and we were by the swimming pool drinking cocktails with. I said, you people are the problem, not these guys. They're just doing their job, right? And so that was like when I started to not really be. I still helped with a number of rainbow gatherings, but I stopped going to the West. I stopped, really. So Anyway, so that's the story. So in about 20 seconds, it's going to be 15 minutes of this little morning drool. And so for the last 50 seconds, I'm going to meditate. Take this energy and take it with you in every day and every way, and take the peace of the earth and make it stronger. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses. So I'll see you. Okay? Okay. Love you guys. Maybe Saturday, Sunday, I'll do another live chat. But remember, in every day and every way, take the peace of the earth and make it stronger. And that light, let that light guide you. That light coming from your third eye, let that be you. Okay?